I need to wash the van, but also I'm playing with my tripod spider, my spider tripod. Yeah, that's it. So, I'm recording something silly, like me washing off the van with a brush. Now, you're probably asking yourself, why a brush, Josh? Well, I'm only 5'8", and washing parts of this van is pretty darn difficult to get to because it's really tall. Now, you've probably seen some folks in the movies that's got a handy dandy stool for standing on whenever they're washing their car. But just remind yourself, that's TV. That's not the really real world. In the really real world, we're in a hurry. And we don't have a pre-washed car that we can sit a stool up next to and pretend to wash fake dirt off of. In the really real world, you have dirt ground on your vehicle, and your time is limited and precious, and you just need to get the crap off the front of your vehicle so it don't look like you ran through a bug storm. Because that's kind of what it looks like here on the front of this here van. It looks like I ran through a bug congregation. Maybe they was getting together and talking about all the other bugs and places they were going to go and things they were going to eat and munch on, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the space-aged space van comes flying from what they would consider outer space and blindsides them. Squishes their little guts all over the place. Man, what a horrible day to be a flight in, right? I mean, at least they got hit by a decent looking vehicle. It's a nice van, you know. Even though my mirror goes winky, 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 winky sometimes. That's the sound effect I think it makes. And I'm sure it's just a short, but man, I do not want to have to pay to get that fixed. Just cause that seems like I could just unhook a wire and get it to stop doing that, if you know what I mean. I don't need the mirror to close upon pushing the button. I mean, it's handy when you're in a tight parking lot. Like, you know, some parking garages can be set up for a bunch of miniature cars. You can close your mirrors, you can fit into a tight space. And if you have to, you can climb out the back tailgate like they do in that one commercial. I'm sure y'all have seen that on TV. Anyway. Again, I'd like to reiterate, if anybody knows how to get that mirror to stop going swingy, wingy, 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 I could use some help on fixing that. Because I don't do that. Like I see dirt I can't get to. Dang, I say. And dang again. Gotta add water to my bucket. My bucket's running low. Let's wash some of this off. We don't want this to dry on here. Leave a soapy residue. It's funny because I'm washing this van mainly because I haven't had time to wash it until now. And it needs it. If you don't get your bug guts off every once in a while, it tends to kind of stain your vehicle and become part of the vehicle. Over the years, it resembles neglect. Which ain't a big deal if it's your vehicle and you're keeping it. But I got plans in the work for this van. And it doesn't involve me keeping it. That's for another video. I got some videos to talk to you guys about. There's plans in the Peak household for something to happen. Well, I guess I can talk about it now because I ain't doing nothing else but watching this van. So anyway, check it out. I'm in the market for another vehicle. There, I've said it out loud to the YouTube world. I paid this van off a while back, and when we got this van, we had kids that rode with us all the time. We got 3 boys who were just getting bigger and bigger and did not fit what we currently drove at the time. Well, now, we got one kid that's moved out of our house. We got one kid that drives himself everywhere. And another kid that's only got a couple more years of high school and he'll be gone. And when we bought this van, we bought the nicest one they had for a reason. Mainly because we didn't want to make a car payment on some crap that we hated. But also, we thought in the back of our minds, you know, one day if we ever go to turn around and resell this or trade it in, we can get some pretty good money for it because it's in great shape. Especially since we put all the miles on it. And I work less than 10 miles from here, or right at 10 miles from here. This van has primarily been used for the last few years just for me to go back and forth to work. We've used it on trips like going down to Disney, and that's been wonderful. But let's face it, the older these kids get, the less Disney going will be. And I kind of would like to get a Dodge Challenger because it's a cool looking car. But the more I talk about it with everybody, the more I realize if I got a Challenger, I'd still be wishing I had a truck. Because there's times when I got to go to the hardware store or Walmart and bring home some big goodies. And they won't fit in a Dodge Challenger. As much as I'd like to think they would, they won't. So, for the last 2 weeks, about last week, I've been going by and looking at trucks. And I'm not brand specific on what I want. By that I mean, like some people say that they're Ford people, and some people say that they're Chevy people, and some people, I ain't driving nothing but a Toyota. Whatever flavor it is that you think you are loyal to. I got news for you. These companies are not loyal to you. They don't give one crap about you. They'll sell you whatever rolls off the production line, whether it's good or not. All they're looking at is how many units did we sell. Right? I'm pretty sure we've all realized that here in our economic downturn. Well, we have been blessed in the fact that we've been able to catch up on our bills and actually get ahead. And I guess getting ahead's got me anxious. You know, I want to drive something different. Our van is still worth some money because I did get the best van they offered. Here, let's move you guys over so you can see me on that side of the van. I got you on top of the trash can here, and my spider pod is just doing wonderful. Tea time. I'm on a diet. No sodas. Boo-hoo. Trying to be healthier, so I'm cutting out the sodas for a while. yesterday was my last soda. So if I get grumpier and grumpier as these videos go, just know that it's for my lack of Coca-Cola. Anyway, back to what I was saying. This van, when I bought it new, sticker priced at about, I think it was $45,000, which for anybody nowadays is a tremendous amount of money. But it was especially so because at the time I bought it, my wife and I barely made that much together. And we were saving up to build this house that we now live in. And we just knew that our family was outgrowing what we were currently driving and we had to have something bigger. So we picked this vehicle. Now, I've had the vehicle now, this coming April would be 7 years that I've had it. And I've got 67,000 miles. So if you do the math, that's under 10,000 miles per year, which by anybody's standards is considered pretty low miles. So my thinking was, before it gets too many miles on it, let's trade it in. So that's what I'm looking at doing. I went around to the different dealerships and checked out all their trucks. Decided not to get real specific with the fellows that I was talking to because I didn't want them to think they'd sold them a winner and then me have to break their heart. But I told them I was looking at all of the trucks. I wanted to find something that fit my family, something that fit my budget, something I'd be happy with driving for a long time. Because I kind of get the feeling that the older I get, the more inclined I am to drive a truck for a long time. And so anyway, I started off at the Toyota dealership. No, I'm sorry. I started off at the Chevrolet dealership. And I met the nicest guy. His name is Mark. And Mark was very helpful. I told Mark my intentions, and that I wasn't really looking, but I was, and that I wanted to get an idea of what I wanted. I told him, I said, look, this is day one of me looking. So I'm not going to say yes to anything, but I want to test drive some stuff and see what what it's like. So we test drive the Silverado, and it was a nice riding truck. I really liked it. I said, okay, well, thank you, Mark. I appreciate your time. And Mark says, well, hang on. He said, you know, would you like to run the numbers on your van? Maybe get an estimate, see what it's worth. I said, well, sure. I'd already been on the Kelley Blue Book and looked up the value on my van and knew about what it was worth. This van on Kelley Blue Book retails between $17,000 and $19,000 right now. Now, I went on that NADA.com, the National Auto Distributors of America, or something like that, and looked up their pricing, and it was about similar. I realized when I go to the back side of this van, that'd be the part where you listen to Dad play the banjo. Just imagine I'm playing the banjo. So anyway, I'm just watching the back of the van here. Trying to get some of the dirt off of it. But anyway, I drove the Silverado. I liked it. The guy ran me the numbers. And he says, all right, well, we got an incentive thing, and we can get you this much for your... He offered me $15,000 for the van. Which, first off, in any negotiation, you always start off low, okay? you always value your stuff high. And anything that you're giving value to the other guy, you value low. Because there's going to be negotiation room. So he says 15. He probably knows that I know I can get 17 for it. But that's part of the negotiation. That's part of the dance. So he tells me he can get me the Silverado that I like for about 43. And then they got a special thing for incentives like from Chevrolet where they're trying to sell their vehicles, so they're going to mark off another $5,000 off the price just to try and move inventory, which is understandable because it's not them giving you the discount. It's the fact that they've overpriced their vehicles anyway. Now, hang on a second. I gotta rinse this off back here. So anyway, with the idea that they've overpriced their vehicles anyway, I understand that there's wiggle room on both ends. Okay, first off, I can get more than $15,000 for this van, and second off, I can get his truck for a lot less than what he's offering. Not a lot less, but I'm saying there's $1,000 probably each direction at least that I can move. Anybody that's ever negotiated anything knows that with cars. Okay? But I thank Mark for his time. I told him I really enjoyed driving the truck, and that because my experience was so nice, I would probably be back to talk to him. And I meant it. So when I left there, I went to the Toyota dealership. And I knew that the Toyota place was going to be like walking into a hornet's nest. What I mean by that is, the Toyota dealership we have here in Florence, South Carolina, is what they call a volume store. They do a lot of volume, the most in the city. And because of that, their salesmen are a bit cocky. Not just the salesman, but everybody in the sales force. The pricing manager, they think a lot of their stuff. I know because I bought one of their vehicles. But, you know, don't get me wrong. Toyota's got a nice product. They really do. They got one of the better products out there on the market. So I met this fellow named Gary. And Gary was nice. You know, I told him I wasn't planning on buying nothing today, but I was just starting to look. And we looked at trucks, and I test drove one. I drove a Tundra, and it was nice. But I glanced at the sticker price. The sticker price was $50,000. And I asked Mr. Mann, I said, so how flexible is this price? He said, well, we ain't got any incentives right now, but we're offering 0%. I said, 0% on 50,000. That just still ain't barking up my tree. Let me move this over some more. I said, you still ain't singing my tune, dude. Tea break. I said, that's just too expensive, man. The van's nice, and it's familiar as far as going from a Toyota to a Toyota. All your controls look very similar, so finding stuff to operate other things is real easy. So, you know, I thanked him for his time and went on to the Ford place. I had seen the new Ford F-150 and I thought it looked like a sharp vehicle. So I drove over there and I met a fellow named Johnny. Johnny didn't seem real excited about his options. Johnny seemed like he was not wanting to sell a truck. But I didn't want to hold that against Johnny or the Ford division. I've owned a Ford Ranger before and loved it. Thought it was great. So I figured to give Johnny the benefit of the doubt, I'd just ignore his attitude. And it wasn't an attitude of like a bad attitude. It just wasn't the attitude I was prepared to have when I pulled up there. Like he really didn't want to. He didn't want to be there today. You ever have one of those days at work? I do. Problem is when you're in sales, especially in a business like this, you got to step up your game all the time. And especially when you're dealing with somebody like me who critiques people who are salesmen, because I was a great salesman in the past. So, Johnny aside, I actually looked at two different Ford trucks there. Two different F-150s. I came upon one that was a pretty blue, and it was on sale, had a sticker price. Marked down to $36,000. I was like, hey. I asked Johnny, I said, could we go for a drive? I want to see what it's like. I told him the same thing I told everybody else. That I wasn't looking to buy today, but I was just getting started trying to decide what to buy. So, I drove that Ford, and I have to say it is the worst driving experience I've ever had in a vehicle. And I've drove some pretty crappy vehicles in the past. The layout of everything was fine, but the whole ride, suspension, the way it feels, felt like I was riding on a horse and buggy. It felt worse. It felt similar to riding in Dad's rat rod with, very little suspension. I could feel every bump, every single bump. $36,000, and I got to worry about my T-glass spilling over because I run over a little pothole in the road. Now, I am somewhat of a realist, and I understand that me talking about this, I'm going from a van, a minivan, that's made for comfort and family and safety and all that other crap, to a truck, which is different. A truck is made to haul stuff. Hang on, let me get a rag. I need a rag to wipe these wheels because I got some dirt in there I need to get out. So anyway. Hey. We're going to pause here. I got to talk to the boy.